This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Wednesday, May 24th, 2023, and we're so glad you could join us for today's episode. In today's show, I will speak with Gordon Spronk. He is a producer and appointed board member for the National Pork Board. We're going to talk about using on-farm data to improve sustainability. I will also have a check of the ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day, we are joined now by Tyler Schau of agmarket.net for our closing market analysis. Tyler, what did we see take place in the grain markets today?
We actually saw some pretty strong price action this morning, right after the break at 8:30. And soybeans were kind of the star. Soybeans were up strong early, about 9:30, 10 o'clock, really all grains, soybeans and wheat especially, really, the brakes got pumped. There was kind of a big sell-off, and about that same time, there was a government bond auction, and there was really no one willing to buy government bonds. And that's really a result of the story we're hearing out of Washington that Speaker of the House McCarthy walked out of negotiations yesterday. It doesn't look like there's going to be any additional negotiations on the debt ceiling raise until after Memorial Day now. So the risk of default went up as a result, and I think that just spooked a lot of markets.
And Tyler, also, it's maybe a little bit early, but we're already kind of into the weather watching phase of the year, because here in the Midwest, the heart of the Corn Belt, it's expected to be a little bit dry over the coming period. And from what I understand, that is already going to be affecting the markets, it seems like.
Yeah, and that was another reason that you saw a lot of the grains up strong. They're looking at a 10 to 14 day outlook of very dry, especially in your neck of the woods, kind of stretching all the way through central Illinois, central Indiana. I will say that another thing that kind of maybe pressured markets a little bit midday today was the model runs did pump a little more rain into the forecast in that area that's already kind of what I would say quite dry, or maybe a little bit of a flash drought developing. So it'll be interesting to see how those forecasts play out over the next week. If you see a little more rain come through central Iowa, Illinois, that's going to pressure markets. If those forecasts change and they go back to being dry, I think you're going to see some premium being built back into these prices.
And Tyler, just to explain it a little bit further as well, it seems a little bit strange, to just look at that forecast and say, well, there's going to be, however many days where it could be dry coming up, and that's going to affect the markets. But they're kind of looking at that because they're expecting such a big U.S. crop, and therefore any little change in the weather, a pattern like this can make that difference.
Yeah, I mean, we're expecting a big crop. If producers want to see higher prices, unfortunately, right now, the only thing that we see on the table that's going to induce higher prices is going to be some type of a supply issue. And that's ultimately going to come down to either too wet or too dry, which basically means some producers are going to have a poorer crop in order to push prices higher. On the demand front, there's really not a lot of great news out there that would tell us that we're going to see buyers chasing bushels unless we see that supply scare. And so with the market, really for the last month focused on 92 million acres of corn, 88.5 million acres of beans, 181.5 bushel per acre corn yield, 55 bushel acre soybean yield. With those numbers being thrown out there, that's what the market is focused on. If we continue to see dry forecasts, those yield numbers will come down, and that's what's going to provide some support to these prices.
Tyler, what was the story on the livestock side of the markets today?
The fat cattle had a strong day today. Your June fat's up $1.82.5. Your back month fat's up anywhere from $1.50 to 90 cents. Feeder cattle actually had a sell off early and rebounded strong. It closed up about $1 in your nearby in your May and your August contracts. The cash market has been real choppy here lately, and a lot of differing stories. You're hearing 180 bids in the north. You're hearing some 170 to 165 bids in the south, and the market's trying to figure out which area is right. Is it right in the north? Is it right in the south? I would look for that cash market to continue propping up the futures market, especially that June and August contract for the near term. And it sounds like the Packers they've got to do some work to try to find harvest ready cattle.
He is Tyler Schau of agmarket.net with our closing analysis here today. Tyler, thank you for the information, but how can our listeners get in touch for more great information?
Check us out on the internet, agmarket.net. If you want to call me directly, 701-987-6009.
Tyler Schau, our guest here today on Ag Matters PM. Tyler, thank you so much for the time and have a great rest of your day.
Take care. Thanks, guys.
Thank you to the team at agmarket.net for our closing market analysis. Let's turn our attention now to the closing numbers, courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart.
July corn up 9 3/4 at $5.87 1/4. New crop December corn up 3 1/4 at $5.20 even. July soybeans up 2 even at $13.24 1/2. New crop November soybeans down 2 3/4 at $11.85 even. August soybean meal down $2.80 at $3.9870. August soybean oil up 21 cents at $48.08. Chicago wheat down 15 1/2 at $6.19 even. Minneapolis wheat down 22 3/4 at $8.01 1/2. Kansas hard red wheat down 26 even at $8.07 3/4. On the Merc, June live cattle up $1.82 at $166.10. August feeder cattle up $1.05 at $234.52. June lean hogs down 87 cents at $79.80. June pork cutout down $1.27 at $83.27. And Class 3 milk down 1 cent at $16.20.
And that's been a check of the Ag Market Recap here on Ag Matters PM. It's time now to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I will be joined by Gordon Spronk, a producer and appointed board member for the National Pork Board. This is AMPM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today, I am speaking with Gordon Spronk, a producer and appointed board member for the National Pork Board. We're going to talk about using on-farm data to improve sustainability through measurable actions. Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined today by Gordon Spronk. He is a producer from Minnesota, also an appointed board member for the National Pork Board. And Gordon, wanted to have you on today to talk sustainability and specifically how you use sustainability reports on your farm and then move forward from there. And we can kind of talk about how other producers do similar reports on their own farm. But first of all, Gordon, welcome in. Could you please tell us, what do you think sustainability means to you as your full operation is involved in sustainability and using those sustainability practices?
Well, thanks, Mark. Thank you for the opportunity to spend some time with you. You know, sustainability is the current buzzword. At a higher level, it's society's concern about the environment and how we raise pork, how we raise our pigs, and the corn and the beans that we feed to those pigs. So sustainability really is something we've probably been doing for a long time, that Grandpa did and my father did, and we've done that. We use less feed to produce our pigs. Our feed efficiency is better. We use less water. We have more pigs per sow per year. So sustainability really is all those things. Some people could say efficiency, and this topic we're talking about today is just to measure all those efforts.
And that's a good point, Gordon. You say that sustainability is the thing that everybody's talking about right now, and that's certainly true. But at the same time, producers have been using sustainable practices on their farm for many years. And in a lot of cases, they've been doing those good things already that they should be doing. This is just kind of a way to catalog those things a little bit more officially. Is that what I'm understanding with some of the reports
Sure.
you do?
You could argue that 3, 4, 5, 6, or even more generational farms, they've been sustainable because a farm that's been through that many generations clearly has been sustainable, not only economically, but they've been sustainable in their production practices. So this effort is simply to measure those efforts of water or electrical use or manure use or NPK, or even how we're active in our local communities, even our charitable use. Pick up any corporate report today, whether it's a Wall Street a company, they're going to include now in that report a sustainability analysis, and we're simply using the tool that the pork board is providing through its third-party vendor to measure and document and enter that what we do on the farm into that database.
And that practice that you're mentioning, the Pork Cares Farm Impact Reports that are being filled out by producers, and that kind of gives you a little bit of a baseline from what I understand, Gordon. Now, were you an early adopter of this? Did you jump right on board right away?
My brother and I and our family, Seth and Tyler, we've participated now. This will be our third full year. So the Pork Cares Farm Impact Report is what I'd encourage all producers who are listening to go to the porkcheckoff.org. Request a report, and if you've entered data, you'll get your report. If you haven't entered data, you'll soon be encouraged. You'll be have a online call with someone that will walk you through the steps of the pathway to enter your data into the Pork Cares Farm Impact process.
So, Gordon, what was the main reason you wanted to fill out this report the first time around? Was it to get that baseline? Was it to find those ways in which you could improve your operation?
Well, candidly, it wasn't a look at me moment. It was candidly just to simply measure what we're already doing. It's an old adage of everything from Harvard Business School to right down to Grandpa. You cannot manage what you cannot measure. So this database, this process allows us to measure.
What did you find to be personally beneficial for you and your operation when you filled out the report?
Well, you automatically know how many kilowatts of electricity you're using per head. Maybe we should find ways to use less, or how many gallons of water per head that we produce a year, or how our manure is managed and what impact we're having on the environment. And candidly, we were pleasantly surprised that the carbon footprint that we have, we think while there's areas to improve, we also think we're better than the models or what the rest of society might think how we're doing. And it offers us an opportunity to communicate very clearly, this is what we're doing and this is our goals to improve.
And Gordon, then the $64,000 question, of course, is were you able to make some improvements from that initial report? And then down the line, did you see those improvements take place?
Pig farmers and farmers in general are always given the data, and once they measure, they always have the desire to improve. And yes, we've improved.
And Gordon, something we always hear about when producers meet with consumers, whether it's here domestically or overseas in international markets, is how much those consumers value the opinions and that ability to talk with the producer face to face. Do you think this kind of reporting, this kind of data keeping that shows that improvement lends even more credibility to what the producer's doing then?
Sure, it not only lends credibility, but it builds trust. And so trust in our local domestic consumers, but also allows us the ability to communicate globally to our international customers that this is how we practice. This is our form of agriculture in the United States, and the data and the documentation that we think we're best in the world.
And Gordon, do you think that consumers then in those other markets and even here in the United States, they have some options for choosing pork, but do you think this type of study, this type of effort then lends them to choose U.S. pork more often?
Well, sure. Not only does pork taste good, not only is it good for you, not only is it safe, but it's also produced in a manner that's sustainable. Yes.
Gordon Spronk, our guest here today on Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Gordon, is there anything else you'd like to let our viewers know, our listeners know about when it comes to this effort of sustainability, partnering with the MPB, what you've been doing on your individual farm, and just what other producers could do to get involved?
Eat your pork ribs over the upcoming holidays and summer grilling season with confidence that it's produced sustainably and is good for you.
He is Gordon Spronk, our guest here today on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Gordon, thank you so much for the time. Been a very interesting conversation. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Mark.
That was Gordon Spronk, a producer and appointed board member for the National Pork Board. Let's turn our attention now to the ag weather outlook. We've been able to stack together some really nice weather days here in central Iowa. Back-to-back days in the 80s, including today with a lot of sunshine. Tonight, mostly clear. We will have a little bit cooler temperatures in some areas. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny once again, but with some isolated precipitation chances. So let's turn our attention now to the National Weather Service and what's in store for the next 24 hours.
As you can see from the National Weather Service, partly to mostly sunny skies today with warm temperatures around the state of Iowa. Tonight, decreasing clouds, mostly clear, and we will have some cooler temperatures with some lows dipping into the 40s. Tomorrow, sunny skies across the state of Iowa. And now taking a look at our affiliate weather map for tomorrow. Cherokee, a slight chance for showers, then mostly sunny, high around 78. Shenandoah, a slight chance of thunderstorms Thursday, high around 83. Des Moines, mostly sunny, high around 77. Albia, sunny and 76. Waterloo, sunny with a high around 74. And Clinton, mostly sunny on Thursday, high around 71.
For a more detailed forecast in your part of the state, make sure and check with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook. That also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And you can find our video content and previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. Don't forget our free twice-daily market podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. On behalf of Dustin Huffman and Riley Smith, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.